So our project was about the generalized context model, which is a model of category learning. And to start with, we have an example of category learning in the real world. So we have two categories, cats and dogs, and the question is, when you see a new stimulus that you haven't encountered before, how do you classify it as belonging to either the cat category or the dog category on the basis of the stimuli that you've already seen? And in particular, if you have different dimensions that you're using, labeled here dimension 1 and dimension 2, do you give more weight to one dimension than the other?
We decided to see how we could use a Bayesian model to show how people learn to generalize and develop categories. We wanted to implement our own version of a specific model of categorization into R by using JAGs. And after we did all of that, we wanted to go back and change the parameters of one of the priors to see how our model's performance would then be affected.
So the specific model we used was the generalized context model, which was developed by Nosofsky in 1984 and was based on the earlier context theory of classification, according to which the probability of classifying a stimulus T as belonging to category big X is as follows. And here S of T of X represents the similarity between stimulus T and stimulus small x, and big X and big Y represent two mutually exclusive categories. Nosofsky added to context theory by defining similarity as an exponential decay function of the psychological distance between the stimuli.
So our data set that we decided to use was from an experiment by Kruschke in 1993. In this experiment, he used 8 stimuli divided over 2 categories, A and B. He collected data from 40 participants over 8 blocks of 8 trials each. And in each trial, participants saw a drawing that they had to classify belonging to one of the 2 categories. Unlike most experiments, in this one, participants received feedback after every trial. You can see a graphical representation right here, which is similar to the cat and dog representation that you saw earlier. In our poster session, we will be exploring this data set in order to answer our research questions.